Bioshock 4 is an upcoming first-person shooter that is being developed by Cloud Chamber and published by 2K. I have covered everything we know about the game already, which covered some of the leaks around the title and rumors, so I will link that video down below to watch before coming to this video. But more recently, job listings were posted from Cloud Chamber and additional details were found indirectly through these job listings. As always, all the sources will be linked in the description below, so make sure to check those out and support those original articles. And with that out of the way, let's get into these new Bioshock 4 details. The job listings themselves were found on December 9th and were discovered by an industry analyst, Maru NL. He discovered 3 new job listings for Cloud Chamber, which are for a senior voice designer, game AI programmer, and lead systems designer. Plus, I'm going to cover one additional job listing I found interesting. He starts by discussing the senior voice designer. The job listing itself has been highlighted for a variety of different reasons, but one of the most important is it discusses a dialogue system and describes the project as a narratively driven project full of character and personality. As for the dialogue system, this could mean they are opening up the dialogue more than in past Bioshock games, and could feature a system closer to Fallout where the player will have options for dialogue and responses that could change the game. So if you start to see a lot of headlines and videos talking about Fallout dialogue in Bioshock, this is where the rumor comes from, but it really just stems from a dialogue system, and everything else past that is just speculation, so take that how you will. Now, the second part of the listing calls the game full of character and personality, so we could be seeing the protagonist potentially be a little bit more full of life compared to past games, and I think this could help depending on this dialogue system and if they decide to go the silent protagonist route or if our character will have more to say in this upcoming title. The next important job listing is in regards to the lead systems designer. The post says the ideal candidate has an innate sense of how game systems connect and enhance one another in an emergent sandbox world, as well as for the play-facing signs and feedback that are required for an intuitive player experience. And the post itself closes out saying they will be in control of creating an interactive world systems and non-AI systemic ecology, player growth systems and progression, along with game balance and economy. So there's a lot there, so let's just break it down for what's important for the casual fan. What most people are immediately drawn to is the fact they say this will be a sandbox world, and it sounds like it could potentially be going back to the roots of the franchise, and seems to be moving away from some of the linear progression that was in Bioshock Infinite, and could potentially be a hub world like what we saw in Bioshock 1 and 2, where we have a main area that we kind of travel back and forth to and leave from there, or it could even be a step further and could be even bigger than this. We just aren't sure and what the natural progression of this series will be, but it sounds like we will be reverting a little bit and the game will get more open compared to Infinite, so they are listening to some of the criticisms fans had around that title. Not too much is known about the progression or growth systems they mentioned in the post as well, but a lot of people have pointed to those, wondering what that could be, and have started speculating on what growth could look like, and a lot of the progression in game, once again leaning more towards some of the original games and less like Infinite. And the next job listing is for the game AI programmer, which we have covered before, but there are now more details with this position. So they say they are looking for someone to push the development of AI systems in a strong narrative and systemic game. They will be responsible to flesh out the designs and finalize the implementations for an urban crowd system and systemic tribal ecology of a sometimes hostile AI. So this is a lot of what we've covered before. We have heard of this tribal ecology and hostile AI, and it sounds like they are still planning on pushing the envelope further on what's possible with AI in this game and what we will see in this world. And it also will be exciting that they are trying to accomplish something that's never been done before with AI and crowds in a game. So a lot of this, once again, just comes down to speculation and how far you think they'll go, and we aren't going to know real details until we start getting some more confirmed details about the game. And the last job listing I want to cover is for the rendering programmer. The only thing I want to mention here is under the quote, "who we think will be a great fit" category, the team says the individual should have experience with current and next generation game consoles, which is interesting, and I know it doesn't guarantee anything, but this could start to tease at the fact we could see the game on the new current generation of consoles, so the PS5 and Xbox Series X, and last generation of consoles as well in the forms of the PS4 and Xbox One. Once again, it's too early to tell. It doesn't seem like it's a requirement, but it sounds like they do want someone with experience of all of this, and with a game as big as Bioshock, it would make sense they would want it on as many platforms as possible. So where does that leave us now? These jobs are a good sign that the Bioshock team is still moving forward with this new title. We know the game started pre-production in 2016 and then entered full production in 2018. So it sounds like now in 2020, 2 years after full production, the game is still moving forward and doesn't sound like they're having any big issues that are very public facing. Even with these job listings and the nature of Bioshock games themselves, I would say we are still at least a few years away from a reveal and release of the game, so don't expect anything soon, but I will be covering all the news that comes up on the title as it happens. Either way, that's where I'm going to end this video. Make sure to like and share, subscribe for weekly gaming news, and I will see you guys in the next one.